stuff like this is one of the reasons why people move to the right, especially like edgy people, because the right will never, ever put you through the ringer over something this minor. Like never, ever, ever. Like this would be like unfathomable to a conservative. Like conservatives who used to be buddies with Ethan Klein, you know, whatever that type, are looking at this and laughing. Like, wow, he asked like some vacuous questions that you would get on Shock Jock Radio, and he's probably asked like a million versions of that before. Like now he has to do a big public apology. Like, you know. Okay, do we want to talk politics? And by politics, I mean drama. Let's go! Just a day before, Hassan got canceled for ruthlessly calling neocon gay guy a cigarette by accident. I already forget what that was about. Apparently there was like real drama with the H3 podcast, you know? I commented on it as well because I didn't really realize what was going on. But basically what I heard is that H3 podcast said some like mean stuff about bottoms or whatever, which is fine and funny, and I do that too. Yeah, look at this. To my LGBTQ plus fans, I'm sorry for the comments on today's show. The sexualization of gay men, the grouping of tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I'll be trying to unlearn. Apologies to the caller too. I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. Hope you guys know I always mean well. To which I responded with something that is, you know, kind of ontologically true. You know, some people said, hey, it actually was kind of messed up, the stuff that was said. So, you know, sure, I'll listen, whatever. I have some courtesy of Ryan. I have some timestamps here. All right, yeah. What do we got?
So, first and foremost, because I know how south these calls can go very quickly, I want to establish my stance on James Charles and the diapers.
Okay,
and I think
please.
he totally probably has a fetish.
Oh, you don't think it's BBL?
I don't know enough about the topic, but if I had to put my money on it...
I don't know. The title says James Charles wears diapers. And you know what? Fine, sure. James Charles bought adult diapers on the H3H3. And then there's a live stream thing. And in the purchase history, there are some adult diapers. Normally, I don't think he should be given shit for this. But James Charles, like, tried to groom a bunch of kids. So, in the context of that, no. At first, James Charles got canceled for some bad stuff, like, or as in bad, as in like it was not a valid cancellation. It was like the Tati Westbrook stuff, right? And then it was like, oh yeah, also he keeps like hitting on 15-year-olds on TikTok, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, you know, right conclusion, wrong method, I guess. Yeah, okay, he's canceled, you know, and now we got this. And Shu says apparently they assume it was for butt surgery, like a Brazilian butt lift. Okay, I'm learning so much stuff today. Just try not to cough, folks. All right, whatever. Anyway, sure, we're focusing on this.
I think he probably just has a fetish.
Is that the feeling, or is there any evidence to
It's
support?
a gut. It's a gut feeling.
And so you think he gets off on wearing a diaper and soiling himself and all that?
You know, that's a little too far. I just, you know, I don't know. But my gut feeling tells me it's probably some kink. It's probably nothing else.
Okay, well that's interesting perspective, certainly.
I just want to come in strong on like James Charles stance. You know, that just so we can move on quickly.
Good. Okay.
Okay. Because I know you like a strong stance early on.
Thank you. Well.
Okay. So, no, and so like.
Oh, actually, I have an update. I'm sorry, Matt.
Like with.
Matt, regarding your comment about James Charles, upon further research, we've found that more websites say there's no diaper needed after BBL. So it could be
Brazilian
that he likes
lift.
what they call age play. And he is into young folks.
Well, we know James Charles has strong feelings about age.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, sister snapped.
Well, I know one thing. He's got to be real embarrassed he accidentally included that.
Brutal.
Okay, Matt, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the tangent there. So what have I got wrong about top bottom?
Could be he's a gamer. Long time gaming sessions. The conversation is just gross all around. Okay, I understand we're dropping kind of into a weird hole here. However, I just want to point out that nothing that has been said so far couldn't just be something I randomly start talking about in the middle of a politics stream. It's not like I have any structure or filter to my streams. I could interview like a congressional candidate, and like 5 minutes after we're done, like hang up. Like we could be talking about literally like this. So I don't want to be too judgmental just because we're used to it with me, but not with other people.
Stereotypes there.
Yeah, so like, and this is kind of an ongoing thing. It just kind of, it made me really want to call in today, because like with you guys, just like when you guys were all, you poor straight males, all, you a group of poor straight males having to discuss such a topic. I mean,
Ethan straight?
It's okay. I mean,
Ethan's straight, right?
It's okay. I just wanted to get involved because, like, I know there's a lot of times it comes up where you bring in, where you often bring up people that you feel inclined. I know often you feel inclined.
He has 2 kids. Wait, you could be bi. I'm not. Yeah, I know he has a wife. I'm just asking if he's like he could be bi or pan. Like, yeah, I know he's okay. Jesus, you're watching a pan streamer right now.
Describe someone where you think they might be a bottom, and I think that that's often a misconception that like bottoms may be passive or the.
Well, I just mean that he likes
partner.
I just mean that he likes to take it up the butt.
Correct. But how can you know that about someone?
Well, that was just a theory about because he wears diapers. It's just a theory.
Oh no, I'm moving on from James Charles. I'm sorry. I don't care about James Charles that much. Well, he should be in jail. What I mean, beyond that one, yeah. What do I care about James Charles?
Okay, so
I'm talking about sometimes. Like I think I don't keep a running tally. I love you. I'm not keeping track of everything you do wrong. I'm not Keemstar. I don't have a document on my desk.
Appreciate that.
But like there have been times. I think one that comes to mind was maybe Jordan Peterson that you described as probably being someone that would be a bottom. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But like I've heard you at times maybe say like, oh, this is someone that might be a bottom. And I think that sometimes like that's not oftentimes like a misconception. Like I think if you met like I'm gay. Let's
really
throw that out there. I mean I'm married. And I think, like, if you met me and my husband, you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell which is which. And that's something that, like, you can't always tell. And it's, like, you might always think that the bottom, and a power bottom is a good example. I mean, we can get to
okay. Right off the bat, my impression here is that the caller isn't saying anything incorrect. It's just kind of a weird thing to fixate on. Because even within the gay community, the stereotyping of bottoms and tops is everywhere, like this is like a ubiquitous thing. In a lot of ways, the more progressive a community gets, the more opinions they have on the nature of bottoms versus tops, yeah, it comes off a bit defensive. I can just imagine if I got called in on this, it's like, okay, well, what does it matter? Let's see where it goes. Because apparently this ends up getting a cancellation because the next stream that Ethan does has quite a lot of dislikes, and he talks apologies to the fans in a 20-minute section here. So I want to know where this goes. If it stays at this level, and this is the cancellation, like this, like I we'll see, I guess, but
like. You can't always tell like who's the top, who's the bottom.
So do you find it offensive if I say by being like, oh, he's probably a bottom? Is that the problem? To make
absolutely,
it's offensive.
Because it is saying someone's a bottom in particular, I think is probably a bit troublesome because it kind of it starts to kind of. Gay men already, you have to deal with certain assumptions about femininity and masculinity. I'm sure you understand that. I'm not going to throw out the whole.
I mean, it is funny though. I don't know. I think the problem is that the term power bottom is very funny to me, and sometimes
it's hilarious.
And sometimes these alpha men give power bottom vibes.
They could be,
but it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. That's the problem. I think maybe the joke is the dichotomy of like their persona of ultra masculinity, but then like the joke being that they're a power bottom. But
Yeah,
okay, I see your point.
I
It's
didn't
not
find anything
yeah,
wrong.
I see
Like,
your point.
as a good counterexample, like I didn't find
None of this is bad. I know none of this is bad. I don't know. I'm waiting to see if it be. I got people were mad over this. I saw discourse. You know, I want to see. Maybe it gets worse. I don't know. We're 5 minutes in.
anything wrong with your and Brittany's usage when you guys were kind of throwing those things around. Like when you and Brittany were talking about it the other day, I didn't find anything wrong with anything you said that day. I thought everything there was okay.
Matt, I will be more conscious of my use of power bottom.
I don't. Yeah,
but
I think it's more. I think it's more okay. I think the ascription of like throwing out that someone is just a bottom, like because it just ascribing certain roles to people.
This person has to be a self-conscious bottom, right? I'm sorry, like that has to be the only explanation for the point that we find ourselves at right now, right? Yeah, I don't know.
That's all I'm asking for is just be a little more conscious of it. I know you don't mean any harm. You never mean any harm.
I'm harmless.
Let's be honest. You know your humor gets away from you.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt. Is it possible? Yeah. So would you consider yourself a top or a bottom, or you don't do that the labels?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew you were going to go there, and I mean this with all peace and love and with respect, Ethan. It's none of your business.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can.
Oh my God, there's such a self-conscious bottom. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. I get, okay, again, I mean, I'm speaking out of bias here, but like in my social circle, both in real life with my real life friends and online with all the people I follow on Twitter and all the conversations I have and all the discourse that I see, like, I don't know if I've seen anyone who wouldn't say whether they're a top, bottom, or switch, because there's like very little stigma, no stigma in like a lot of the progressive spaces that I've been on. Like, have you been on left Twitter? It's all bottoms. They won't shut the fuck up. I wish there was more stigma against bottoms, but there isn't. There's not enough. It's all of them, you know? It's like, Jesus. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to provide the stigma, you know? Okay, but look, like if this person is like a little like kind of insecure about it, like that's not the end of the world. You know, like it's not like they don't it's not like they have to say whether they're a top or a bottom or whatever. Like, you know, nobody else is entitled to that info. It just seems like it's kind of a fixation they have a little bit. I don't know.
And that's a totally valid response. You don't have to answer the question.
Because from there.
But you have a preference one way or the other?
Yeah, but that's another dangerous assumption too. Because
Can I
lot
guess?
of gay men don't have a preference.
Can I guess?
So that's another dangerous stereotype. What's that?
Is that what? Just to be clear, is that a dangerous stereotype that a lot of people are either bottoms or tops? I don't think that's a dangerous stereotype. I think that this person might be projecting a lot of their like homophobes don't care if you're a bottom or a top. This isn't ancient Rome, you know? They care if you're gay. Like, if you're a gay top, it's not like homophobes are going to be like, it's cool, whatever, you know? Like, it's not, like, right now, I don't think the discourse is, bottom shouldn't be an insult, though. First of all, yes, it should. Second of all, it's not serious. I don't think any real, like, bigotry is coming through towards, like, bottoms or tops. You know what I mean? You could argue that more bigotry is levied against feminine gay people, and that is true. But then if you were to assume that feminine gay people are more likely to be bottoms, you would be the one doing the assumption. Of course, that is true. The feminine gay men are often the bottoms, like overwhelmingly. That seems to be the case. Not always, but overwhelmingly. I think it's okay to point out that being prejudiced against femininity within gay men is bigoted. But as for the top-bottom discourse, I just think it's funny. I don't know. I don't know if there's any real hate taking place there. There is some hate for, like, feminine guys, though. Have you ever seen on Grindr, there will be people who are like, no fatties, no femmes? I've seen that a lot. Maybe because there's, like, a ring to it. because they basically just, they're like beefy twinks who want other beefy twinks, you know? Like they just want, there's this archetype of like gay men, and they want to fuck somebody who looks exactly like them. Has anyone noticed this, that there are guys who, and all the guys they're into are just look like them? I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. Okay, just yeah.
Can I guess what is your preference?
Yeah, no fats, no femmes, no Asians is like a, because gay men can be racist too. Let's just move forward.
You can.
Will you tell me if it's right, if I guess right?
No.
Well, but either way, you would.
How about this? How about this? How about this one? You do a good job. You try to learn from this and do better. And then in 5-6 months, when you've shown some growth, then I'll tell you.
Is this the audience that Ethan Klein has now? Wait, I thought that Ethan Klein's audience, like, he was interviewing like Jordan Peterson a couple years ago. I'm not to say that he's like right-leaning, just I thought his audience, it's not like he's not edgy. I mean, he's not like a bread tuber. I know his audience is more left, but my audience is more left-leaning than his is. It has to be. I'm a socialist. So does he just have like a lot of woke scolds that were... Yeah, I guess we'll see, Shu.
Okay.
Matt.
Seems fair.
Matt. The reason you're... Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get into it, Matt. But we all know which one you prefer.
Yeah, I think you probably do.
Yeah, and that's great. People that receive...
But as long as you understand where I'm coming from on this.
To be honest, I don't really. I'm trying.
He admitted.
I don't. I mean, I get it. Like, I get the thing that, like, power bottom, it's this weird assumption to make, or to use it in a derogatory way. I get, because to be on the bottom is to give. It's to give. You know, it's a gracious thing to give. And
Aren't you receiving when you're on the... Okay, I'm not... I'm leaving aside a straight man's perception of gay sex. I'm leaving it aside. We're just going to focus on the ethics here, okay?
Receive like that.
Oh, you receive. Okay.
I think you're misunderstanding what a power bottom is. Like, because generally a bottom is like the receptive partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's someone who's just receptive. A power bottom. So generally a bottom is kind of assumed to be the more passive partner. A power bottom is a bottom who is just the more active bottom.
Oh, okay, I see.
She's still actually learning.
They can ride. A power bottom will ride it, where a regular bottom will just kind of lay there.
Okay, so there are two often conflated but not entirely the same roles. Sub and dom. Thank you. Sub, dom, and switch, and top, bottom, and switch, okay? Generally speaking, in the gay community, a bottom is a person who takes it, dick, plastic dick, silicone dick, whatever. That's the bottom. A top is the person who gives. A switch is a person who can do both. And then you have dom, switch, sub, which is the sort of emotional power-related role that you take. So a power bottom is a person who takes charge in the sexual interaction, but they're also the one receiving like dick or whatever. Like they're the one getting railed, you know? Then you have service tops who are submissive, but they're the ones like pummeling with dick, basically. And then you have switches, which, wait, this isn't common knowledge? Not outside of like queer communities or whatever. But anyway, so basically the term switch can apply to both. Now, top and bottom colloquially get used for both power roles and the literal physical positions of having sex. So when a person says like they're a bottom, it's sometimes colloquially, it's hard to know whether they mean they prefer to take dick or they're more submissive. It's usually both, you know, because these roles tend to overlap, but there are power bottoms and service tops and blah, 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 blah. That is true, Shu. Okay, let's just...
generally, yeah. What did you think a power bottom was?
I thought it was just someone that liked receiving rather than giving.
Oh, that's just a bottom.
Yeah, no, that's just a just a bottom.
No, a bottom.
Okay, so so the power bottom is someone who rides enthusiastically.
And they're probably the
not necessarily, but they can do that. Sure, that is a thing a person can do to be more domineering. Okay, just
more active one.
Okay, so what's the problem? I misunderstood the the label
A bottom is obviously someone, if someone's taking a dick in there, actually enjoy it.
Yeah, of course. But you could be, I guess you could be on some days a bottom and some days a power bottom, which is great. God bless them. God bless you.
So that would be a bottom who's a switch in the power role, like a you know, like a dom sub switch.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Matt. Well, keep it up, man. I'm sure you are having fantastic sex and everything's good. Do you wear? You don't need diapers or anything, right?
About anal leakage, the only
That okay. Credit where credit is due. That overlaps with a lot of homophobic stereotypes. I don't think he's doing it on purpose. In fact, I know that he's not. However, like one of the things Christian conservatives have said is like, oh, gay people's assholes fall out and they have to wear diapers because they shit themselves all the time, which of course is not true. I think there have been some cases of some like a gay guy from the 80s somehow survived AIDS and got fucked like 8 trillion times, and then like maybe, but this is so not in the realm of like a thing that people have to worry about, you know. It's just no. I just think he's bringing it up because it relates to the previous bit.
only thing I know about anal leakage, I have never heard of that in anyone.
Right.
I have never heard of that. I think that's more, I do think that happens sometimes in older gays, but I think it's more of like a thing that kind of maybe is...
See, I don't think Ethan Klein was even referring to that. I think he was just bringing it up. James Charles is gay and had the diapers. You're gay. Do you have the diapers? Like that. Like literally just like a, callback type thing, not even a...
Like, I think it probably comes from other things that come with being older men.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, no disrespect at all.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
This is just purely in the pursuit of knowledge.
Uh-oh.
Well, first I appreciate you saying, like, correcting the anal leakage thing. But, like, if you are a regular receiver of anal sex, and I'm not saying you are, I don't know, but if you were,
but we know.
Does the poop pass, like, any differently from before? Is it all...
This is good. This is like an education segment for... I will say that I do find his childlike curiosity somewhat endearing. I do think it's a bit inappropriate to just sort of flail these questions out at like a straight call-in. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's fair to to ask or whatever. I'm sure the answer to this is that it varies, but from literally every person I've ever talked to, there's no relationship whatsoever. I have no idea how assholes work, where it's possible to be a human who can like get railed, but also just like be constipated sometimes. Like I have no idea. It just seems to be magic. I don't really know how it works, but
all normal functions. Like I get it doesn't leak out, but I wonder if it just comes out a little different.
No, yes, no. I mean, I have, I'm more like, I mean, I think you and I
is that
have
a sound
more similar
bar?
stomachs, but yeah, no, it's. I mean, I think I'm more. I relate to you a lot. I'm in the bathroom a lot.
Yeah.
But no, it's regular. But
Okay,
I'm
interesting.
My stomach's about as irritable as yours. But yeah, no, it's more normal.
Okay. Well, there you go. You see, that's good knowledge to have. So, all right,
yeah,
Matt.
I've never heard of anyone. I have never heard of anyone having like just a
that bad
leaking asshole.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well,
but I think it does happen to sometimes older gays.
That does narrow the options.
Like 50, 60.
It does narrow the options, doesn't it? On the James Charles diaper thing.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. You take care.
And
you enjoy.
I am BTS Army. I appreciate
BTS forever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought that'd be a lot worse. Ethan asked Contra if she had bottom surgery. She told him off. He's kind of bad about this. Did that happen? I never watched that interview. Maybe he just has like this unrestrainable impulse as like a cishet guy to just assail minorities with legitimate and earnest questions. You know, it's just a lack of lack of a filter kind of thing. I will say, by the way, I can see how some people would take issue with this behavior. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Here, I want to see how this. So apparently, later on, this gets brought up Or somebody brings up like people are mad about this.
Wears diapers?
Yeah, if it's genuine curiosity, by the way. I don't know. I guess I just don't find it that bad. You know what I mean? Okay, you know how it's like pretty inappropriate to ask a trans person if they've had bottom surgery or whatever? Because it is, and you shouldn't do that. Unless like you're friends with I mean, like if you're like friends or whatever. What's wrong with asking if she had bottom surgery? It's like a really personal topic for trans people. And also like there's a lot of loaded political baggage, and also like you're asking about their genitals, you know? It's like a subject that trans people tend to be like especially sensitive towards, and but anyway, like if you do that, if you ask that question, but you're like sincere and apologizing afterwards, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't mean, I was just curious. I think that in the grand scheme of things isn't that bad. The real issue is when people get indignant about the invasive questions, right? Like it's kind of always like that for invasive questions, where it's rude to ask the invasive question, but if it gets pointed out and you're like, oh, my apologies, like, whatever. But if you get insistent, like, no, I just want to know, like, what's wrong with telling me? Like, that instantly, like, 20 times as bad, like 30 times. You know what I mean? Like, I think that comes across way worse. Okay, so the tomatoes are because people are mad, right? Well, now people are saying tomussy. So it might just be a meme. I don't really know. Oh, thank you.
James Charles caught wearing a diaper? Or just James Charles wears a diaper and the LeBrant family? I think that's a great title. All right, guys.
Hearing the music repeating is honestly really infuriating. It is a bit loud. I can turn it down lower. Here we go. There you go. I have a separate audio slider for the alerts because I anticipated this problem.
Guys, thanks for voting. Thanks for being here. Apologies to whatever his name was. Apparently I was homophobic to him. But whatever. What can you do?
Ages, Hunger Master.
We're navigating the space together, right, guys?
Always.
I learned what's a power bottom, though.
For being homophobic to the caller?
That's what... I don't think... I just saw a comment, but I don't think it's really...
Yeah, why are you looking at the comments in the middle of the show? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just... Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Let's see. I don't... People say it was gross and disappointing. Saying you can guess if Matt is a power bottom by his voice is so gross. But I was right. That was the point.
He's so cute, man. Why would you say that?
Wasn't I? He admitted.
Yeah,
no, I don't think he was a power bottom. I think he was a bottom. Power bottoms you usually can't tell because of the power part.
You were right. And honestly, just so over these fucking people. Shut the fuck up! Shut up!
I mean, I was just trying to make the call fun.
Yes,
And
it's a
funny.
fucking entertaining show. Shut the fuck up.
Someone says...
Fuck, I really, really, really want to talk to Ethan Klein about this. I know that I'm like optics poison or whatever, but I like he's moved left-leaning over the past few years, and that's awesome, and I'm really happy for him. And I do check out his content sometimes that I enjoy, but I wanna talk with him because like I really hope that he doesn't get a woke scold audience that's just going to infuriate him, and he's just going to withdraw from political topics because he's tired of them like lashing out at him for every like perceived fuck. Okay, I'll email his podcast thing again. Yeah. Was Ethan a right-winger years ago? I don't think he was a right-winger. I just think he was like a edgy kind of skeptic adjacent dude way back. I mean, he's been around for a while. Yeah, like edgy anti-SJW, but he was never hateful. None of the stuff he said was ever like hateful. It wasn't like a directed attack against minority groups or whatever. It was always just kind of a like iDubbbz. Well, I like iDubbbz. I like him a lot. I liked him back in the day too. Even when he was mainly known for saying the N-word. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Like when you look at iDubbbz's old stuff, like even back in 2016, I think it's really, really obvious that he's not hateful. Does that make any sense? Like, a lot of the shit he said and did back then was pretty goddamn problematic. But I feel like it was always obvious that he was doing what he did because he found it funny. And that was always the difference to me. When you look at humor from people like Sargon of Akkad, like, it's very obvious they just have political positions that they're afraid to own up to, so they just use humor as, like, the thin veil to distract you, you know, like, all these wacky jokes they have about immigrants or Muslims or whatever. But, like, with iDubbbz, it felt like it legitimately was just, like, he just found it funny. That's not to say that it's good, all the stuff that he did necessarily, though he always, I mean, he was quite funny, of course. He was very funny. The Content Cop videos are very funny. You know what I mean.
I don't know what's up.
So disappointing.
Someone said,
Grow up. Jesus.
Not just Content Cop, a lot of it.
I don't know what's up with Ethan today, but something's off. Bad vibes this episode.
Shut the fuck up. Unsubscribe. Go away. Jesus.
Wait, his producer, this guy. This is the guy who did the Sam Cedar thing, right? This is the guy who set up the Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare, right? Yeah, this guy's based as shit. I'm pretty, from what I've seen of this guy, I'm pretty sure that I could get along with him, like, really well. The reason he's frustrated here is for the exact same reason that I would be frustrated if I was over there right now. I think he's a really cool dude. He's a lefty. Oh yeah, he's a lefty. Yeah, for sure. I gotta make an effort. Gotta strike while the iron's hot. Great time recovering from surgery. Got a cough. General rule, General rule, if you wouldn't ask a straight person a certain question about their life or sexuality, don't ask it to a gay person. Most people don't ask a straight couple if they're the top or the bottom. Okay, top and bottom don't really apply to straight couples. Like, they can, but as a group, this is mostly like a gay community or queer community thing. Like, you can, it's not unapplicable. It's just generally not. Navosh pegging exists. How many couples do you think actually do pegging? Like, I'm just saying that in terms of, like, how you refer to, like, straight relationships, like, the top-bottom dynamic is not like a frequently or widely applicable kind of thing. I would ask straight people funny questions about their sex life. I don't know what straight sex is. I have no idea. Okay. Anyway, that was from 2 days ago. And this was from yesterday.
Elephant in the room. Last episode, people got really angry at, let's say I made it.
How often do people ask you about your sex life? I am a live streamer. Every single day, multiple times, constantly in emails, DMs, non-stop in chat, literally all the time, infinitely. Yeah, Tempest can attest to this as a guy who runs some of my social media accounts.
A joke that James Charles was wearing a diaper because he's a bottom. That, I guess, made people angry, and then a caller called in to explain why that whole thing is offensive.
Already have it, Hungamaster.
And I made insensitive remarks and jokes to him. Oh God, my name is trending. I told you it happened. Oh, it's Moon Knight. That's good.
God damn it, man.
Wait, what?
Well, because Ethan Hawke's in Moon Knight.
Yeah, I thought it was you two. It's not you.
Well, I see Ethan Hawke, and then I see me.
In there though.
Oh, they're both. Okay, double
Yeah.
Ethan.
There's too many famous Ethans nowadays. I can't even own my own cancellation.
Damn it, Mr. Hawk.
So, by the way, that's a pretty good show. I watched it last night. Pretty good.
Moon
Not a
Knight?
chance yet.
Yeah.
You know, like I've said on the show, I've been kind of off the Marvel thing for a while, but I have to admit the trailer for it looked interesting.
It's
I
fun.
like Oscar Isaac. He's
And Ethan
great
Hawke is awesome
Okay.
too. I haven't watched. I'm putting off. I'll be honest. When I talk to the caller,
Oh, is he okay? Is Ethan Klein an owl? Is there like a pellet that he's coalescing in his throat? What is that?
I'll be honest. When I talk to the caller,
Wait, he has Tourette's? Oh, no, I'm canceled. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for not warning me. I never knew.
I don't know why. I just couldn't really. I don't know why. I just couldn't really understand.
over.
But after the episode ended, I talked to some people that I trust their opinion.
That's a well-known thing about him. Okay, Ethan Klein presides over a massive, mostly left-leaning audience and has for years, and he didn't know what a power bottom was. I do not want to hear from you guys about my ignorance on any subject, okay?
Who have good inputs about this stuff. and they explained to me kind of what I said was offensive, and or they explained it to me in a way that I understood, and kind of what I said wasn't appropriate and all this. And you know, they explained to me that I should probably apologize, and explained why. And I thought that, you know, I understood. So this is my heartfelt apology, which I'll read to you now. After consulting with people I trust, who I value their judgment. To my LGBTQ plus fans, I am very sorry for comments on today's show, the sexualization of gay men and grouping of top.
Damn, he seems super into it. Dude, okay, listen, I don't want to, like, make this out to be more than it is, but stuff like this is one of the reasons why people move to the right, especially, like, edgy people. Because the right will never, ever put you through the ringer over something this minor. Like never, ever, ever. Like this would be, like, unfathomable to a conservative. Like, conservatives who used to be buddies with Ethan Klein or Keemstar, who I don't know if they were ever buddies, but, like, you know, whatever that type, are looking at this and laughing. Like, wow, he asked, like, some miraculous questions that you would get on Shock Jock Radio, and he's probably asked, like, a million versions of that before. Like, now he has to do a big public apology. Like, you know, this stuff. The problem here isn't Ethan. It's Ethan's audience. I don't know if Ethan just, like, inherited this big, like, makeup YouTuber audience from that lady he used to do the thing with, who ended up being kind of crazy or whatever. I don't know how this, like, I don't know how his audience, like, ended up being the way that it is, but, you know, Trisha, yeah, when you have, it's Hassan. No, I do not think Hassan's community would act this way. Dude, if Hassan made a comment like this and people in chat, like, got upset with him, he would scream at them for 6 hours, ban half of his chat. Like, no, I don't think this is Hassan. He can't take criticism, so it can't be him. Or maybe it's Hassan's audience, like, wielding the power to get a person to apologize with the only people who will. You know what I mean? Like, Hassan's audience is like, okay, Hassan won't fucking listen to us, so let's go to Ethan, you know? I don't know. Whatever the case may be, like, you can't can't do that. You can't give these people what they want. You can't play into their hypersensitivity, okay? Maybe this comes across as kind of crass, you know what I mean? But, like, if you get a little bit offended by something that a person online says, I don't really think that you have a right to, like, try to drag them down to get, like, your mouth in their ear. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what it is, if you want to just comment on it or offer corrections, but sometimes people feel like this entitlement to, like, anytime a person they like does anything wrong, they get to halt the whole fucking world. They get to Zoworldo everything, and like, everything stops until we get an apology from them. Have you ever been in the real world? People don't apologize for everything. Like, imagine having a friendship where, like, you and a friend are both in the kitchen because you're trying to, like, get, like, it's a roommate, you're trying to get something like a bowl, and you kind of, like, brush past them, like, a little bit too, like you kind of, like, shove them a little bit, but, like, it's an accident, like, you didn't mean to, you know? And they're like, whoa, excuse me? And you're like, yeah, okay. And they're like, you're just gonna leave without apologizing? Now, if I was in the position of the person who accidentally bumped them, at this point I would be thinking, now I'm not going to apologize to them on principle. Now I am on principle not going to say, absolutely not. No, I'm not. Because sometimes stuff just happens. Like, part of a functioning relationship is learning to, like, let go of little grievances. And I think that you can do that with content creators as well. So I don't know. Like, I just don't want to see any, like, Lindsay Ellis situations. It's just like, first you have the well-meaning audience, and that riles up the not well-meaning audience, and that riles up, like, the haters from outside the audience, and then it's like this whole tidal wave every time. All right. Okay.
Tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I'll be trying to unlearn. And apologies to the caller, too, who I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. I hope you guys know I always mean well. So that's my apology. Some people accept it, some people don't. That's fine. Keemstar, of course.
Oh, look at that.
Has my number. Keemstar, a great ally to the LGBTQ+.
Absolutely.
You know, this man is always been on the right side of things. So Keemstar is addressing his one LGBTQ fan. He says, to my LGBTQ+ fans, he's not sorry, just sorry he got caught. Bro, I'm on a live show. What do you mean I got caught?
Caught you. Gotcha.
I'm on.
This is a classic Keemstar tweet because it's retarded. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you can hear him saying it. You know what I mean? Like, to my LGBTQ plus fan, like, you know, and you can know he's like really proud of it, but like it doesn't make any sense. It's just that's
On my own live show.
I gotcha.
It wasn't like a hot mic moment. I'm here.
that's not how he talks. That's
Right.
close.
I
Close enough.
have been caught in 4K.
Keemstar, who... Oh, is this a new one? I haven't seen this. Ethan Klein has lost his mind. Have you guys seen his comments on gay sex? Just watched this T channel for the clips. Oh, he's denying that he watches the show?
He watched the show.
Come on, bro.
We know.
I, Keemstar, you know the bad guy, would never say anything this horrible. I was legitimately offended, and I'm not even gay. For everybody asking for the clips, I don't even know if I should tweet it. It's that bad.
Why is Keemstar like this? Keemstar is to Ethan what like Destiny is to me. It's just like this very weird. I don't think it's like it's not mutual anymore, right? Does Ethan even like talk about Keem? Every like 80% of the time I see anything from Keemstar, it's oh yes, constantly. Oh okay, then maybe not applicable. 80% of the time that I see something from Keemstar, it's talking about Ethan Klein. So.
Bad. He was just like questioning this guy if he was a top or bottom.
And he's just of course he's making this up. Keemstar doesn't care about anything.
And the guy, I know why so bad. Oh, there's a 7 and then the 7-minute compilation. Yeah, so shout outs to our great champion. So well.
Showing a lot of growth. Showing a lot of growth.
Yeah, he has shown a lot of growth. This is good takes by Keemstar. I really like this new woke Keemstar. Hopefully this is a permanent change. The whole pushing, the comment specifically where I was like, I could tell what you are based on your voice or whatever. Very, very gross and bad, okay? Like, I totally acknowledge that.
I just feel like I would say that stuff. Would I not? Like, is that... If a caller came in to talk about, like, gay issues... And he was like, and he sounded like the way that caller sounded like. I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Because you're homophobic. I am homophobic, okay? But I'm allowed to be.
And the whole bottom diaper thing. Okay, I understand now. Like, what I said was offensive. But there are certain things.
But he's not LGBTQ. Jokes hit different from outside your group. I guess. I don't hold that much stock in it. For me, it's just like, do I get the reactionary vibes from these people? And I just don't from Ethan. You're not going to make me like, nothing about Ethan gives me the impression of like malice or directed bigotry or anything. It just comes across as kind of like clumsy curiosity, you know. So I don't know.
I just got to be real about. I got to speak my mind on. Because as you guys know, the minute I stop speaking my mind and being genuine is when the show fucking dies, okay? Now, I've been forceful. I've been emphatic that, like, you know, 2 weeks ago, I got semi-canceled for the Will Smith thing. I was emphatic that...
What did he say about the Will Smith thing?
No matter what, I'm going to always speak my mind. I'm going to be true to myself. And I'm not going to let anybody or anyone kind of change course for what I think is right. And so there are some things about this that really rub me the wrong way.
Good. Called him a shit actor and was anti-slap. Okay, I'm anti-slap. Also, to be fair, right, like, Will Smith has done a lot of performances where I don't think he was doing anything other than just being Will Smith. Are you a bad actor if your main character is being the guy that you are, and you do that well, but like that's just the thing that you do, unless they're a masochist Jew. But he's really good at being Will Smith. Will Smith is remarkable at being Will Smith. Is Sylvester Stallone a bad actor? Well, that's what I'm asking you, right? Like when I think of a really good actor, I think of like a human chameleon who can shift into different roles, who has an incredible range. Like that's like important for an actor, right? Because if all you do is play you, are you acting or are you just performing? You know, I mean, it's still a kind of acting, but I feel like part of the role is being able to play different roles. You know, like, is Nick Cage a good actor? Well, I mean, I think he's funny, but that's mostly just because he plays Nick Cage in all... I mean, the most recent Nick Cage movie is literally him playing as the actor Nick Cage, who gets brought over to, like, a dictator's island who loves him as an actor Nick Cage. So he's Nick Cage playing Nick Cage. It's like they know that he only plays himself, you know? It's like, okay, well, you know. All right, we're getting sidetracked.
Let's start off, first of all, with what Dan said. Dan told everyone to fuck off and unsubscribe.
I have not seen Lord of War.
I understand that made some of you guys angry. But I have to defend... First of all, a lot of people have been calling Dan a horrible homophobe, and that's just fucked. That's just outrageous. Anyone who watches the show knows that Dan's a good man, and I'm not going to fucking stand by and let people malign Dan like that. That's just fucking insane.
Get him.
I got to stand up.
The straight gay couple.
Here.
Defend your
you
man.
Know, so much so that poor Dan just made a Twitter. How long ago was it? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
You deleted Twitter, right?
I'm out.
You logged in today.
I mean, I was sort of harangued into making one anyways.
But you were enjoying it. You were tweeting.
Give me his Twitter if he hasn't deleted it.
I get very argumentative with people, and
does he mean he deleted it this time, or?
And I do want to say I appreciate
before,
you saying that, Ethan.
Ago.
I do think that I did not articulate my thoughts very well the other day, and I apologize to everybody that, you know. I think a lot of people that I was not referring to thought I was referring to them.
Here's what I want to say, Dan, before you get too deep into that apology.
Okay, sure.
I do want to give you the chance to speak, but I just want to be fair to Dan, because I'm going to say things that I don't think he'll say for himself. Every week, we get fucking canceled and called out for something that we're not good enough for. We're not woke enough. Be better. It's always, be better, do better. I feel like an abused fucking stepson sometimes, you know, trying to navigate this space. It's like, every week, be better. You got to do better. You got to be better. I'm doing my best here, guys. Like, y'all can't... I'm getting, like, woke whiplash. And it's like, last week, or with the Will Smith thing, there was people like, well, sometimes the people take it too far, but this time it's right. This time it's serious. Or last time it's fucking serious. And it's like, you guys got to fucking, like, understand how intense it feels on this side when every week people are turning something we said into evidence that we are intolerant pieces of shit, you know? Or it's always like, oh, the veil is down. I always knew they were racist, homophobes. Oh, we can't...
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know how this feels, especially when you're a large creator. But it's never just like, hey, we think you did this thing wrong. Could you correct this? It's always, first of all, this hyper generalized, you need to improve as a person, or else. It's always the implicit or else, you know, because a stated preference is one thing, but the implication is always, well, you're not good enough. That's always the implication with these criticisms. And then you have, because there are always people who dislike you. And anytime you do even a little thing, like even the littlest thing, especially if your community bites into it. And this is why I hate it when you guys, like, trust the people dogpiling me before I've had a chance to get my narrative out, like you did with the fucking Cat Black thing. Because if there's even a little bit of dissonance within a community, like, everyone else bites on that. And what you get from outside the community is people acting as though this minor thing you did is actually evidence of this grand conspiracy that verifies every single bad thing they think about you, you know? Like, when people despise you, you doing a little slip up is not met with them going like, oh, well, okay, yeah, he did a little slip up because, yeah, he's like, you know, because that's bad. He shouldn't do that. It's always like, of course he would do that. Of course he would go on that live stream and say those horrible things because he's a fucking homophobe and a piece of shit and probably a Nazi. Like, they always just roll off with it, you know? And it creates this spiraling discourse. And again, and I need to be really clear about this with you guys, the right doesn't do this. The right falls behind Elon Musk almost completely, and all he's done is tweet like maybe a dozen like dank memes tier reactionary posts. The right falls behind Jordan Peterson very cleanly, in spite of the fact that he's done like 58 things that conservatives should take issue with. Like, he's not exactly an optical powerhouse for the right, you know? Figures like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder, do all conservatives like them? No, there's infighting. But does that infighting like pull at them? The only time I can remember infighting within the right really pulling at Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk was from Nick Fuentes. Because Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. So you're going to get some disagreement there with people who aren't Nazis but are nonetheless far right or fascist. Though honest to God, if you put them both in a room, especially with Charlie Kirk, I really don't think they disagree on that much. But anyway, aside from extraordinary counterexamples like that, you know, for the most part, being not perfect doesn't cause this maelstrom of cancellation within your own political group on the right. But on the left, every time, the only way to fix it is to cultivate your community very deliberately. And if I get a chance to talk about this with Ethan, I would love to. But what you need to do is, honestly, you need to... There are people in your audience who are just abusers. They want to have control over other people's behavior. They don't want to proportion their criticisms with the severity of the offense. They just like being able to talk down at people. They like the ivory tower they sit on. But most people who do this wokescold shit aren't that type. They're good, well-intentioned people who have been conditioned into believing that that is acceptable behavior when somebody who is like 99.9% on your side does a little oopsie, does a little slip up, you know? So you have to condition your audience to look at those abusers, the people who lead the pack, who lead the call, and don't think, oh, wow, you're right, they did make a little mistake, so we should join them in calling them out for this behavior, you know? Because that's a dangerous road. You need to do that without falling prey to those tendencies. You can do that without falling into those abusive tendencies. And my community offers me a lot of criticism, but you guys don't do that shit for the most part. And I appreciate that, you know? Because it's one thing to identify a problem and try to correct the behavior of a content creator. And it's another thing entirely to have that intention, but get roped into like these very destructive and infighty ways of conveying that intention, you know. So if I could talk to Ethan, you know, it's yeah, sure, exactly. I don't apologize basically ever for anything that I do, because let's be real, apologizing as a content creator is 100% a virtue signal clout game. If there's a thing about me that you don't like and I think I will change it, I'll let you know. And if I think I won't, I'll let you know. How many times have people said, hey, I don't like that you use retard, I don't like that you use faggot, and I just say, I'm sorry. If there are things I think I can do better, I will try to work on that. But apologies are just an optics game. It's just clout, and it's in community clout, and I don't need to bother about, I don't want to worry about that shit with you guys.
Pretend now to be woke and all this shit. And Dan is fucking sick of that shit. And understandably, and we all are. So his snap judgment is like, you know, fuck you guys, just shut up. And, you know, people are calling me homophobic. Dan knows I'm not homophobic. Okay, he's standing up for me, which he's being a good friend and a good...
I'm sorry. Hey, Voosh, this is the Twitter of Love, who's an H3 helper dude from Sweden. H3 podcast social guy, official H3 archivist. Great, good stuff. Why am I in incog mode, you might ask? Jesus, I have racked up a lot of enemies, haven't I? I don't know if enemies is the right word here. A lot of contempt. Why? I don't know. I never know why people block me.
A supporter. So, you know, so I totally understand Dan's reaction to say, you know, just shut the fuck up and unsubscribe, which, you know, obviously he was heated at the moment. But
too heated.
Too heated, okay. But understandably, you know, it's not, sometimes it just doesn't feel reasonable with the woke whiplash we get. And
you come off overconfident and dismissive. I just think I really think the only reason I come off that way is because a lot of people are really used to like the standard cucked bread tuber like behavior, you know? I'm sorry. This is politics, okay? I'm not an ASMR channel. If I do something you guys don't like this isn't just some hobby convenience shit. I have strong opinions that I've cultivated my whole life, and I consider advocating for those things to be a kind of moral imperative. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and you know, like, do this big, you know, like, showy bullshit. Oh, I'll try to do better. Do people who give those apologies even mean it? The most performatively apologetic motherfuckers in the online left space are usually the most abusive. People like ThoughtSlime or Professor Flowers who will... I mean, what was that ThoughtSlime video? I'm sorry I said nanners. Here's a 30-minute video apologizing for it. And they're like an insanely abusive piece of shit to other people. Like, this stuff happens. It's just, I don't care. I just do not care. What's nanners? Like bananas. Like crazy, you know. If people think that makes me look like I'm overconfident or whatever, like people have got to bring better arguments to me. Everyone wants like people want like participation trophies for criticizing me. Like people come at me with a bad criticism, and I'm supposed to go like, "Oh, well, in my head I think you're wrong, but like, oh, thank you for making me better." And then like, "I'm sorry," and that's like that makes you feel better? Like, no, ridiculous. And a lot of people online, yeah, you know, Emma Dearest, you're right. A lot of people online are incredibly insecure. Like, I'm sorry, you motherfucker, it's not just a touch grass thing. Like, a lot of you people are, with all due respect, your self-worth is like determined by how quickly the one person you talk to texts back. Like, a lot of you are hanging on by a thread, you know? And like, I'm not insulting you because I know how rough things are. You know, especially for people with a lot of social anxiety or whatever. It's not about making fun of you. It's just like, don't blame me for not acting like you would if you had my platform. You know, I assure you with great confidence that in terms of like personal well-being, this is better than what I just described. You know, in terms of living a healthy life.
I understand, because, like, I'm sorry, but me and Dan both know we're not homophobic, okay? And I just refused. I refused that title. I do, outright, for both of us. It's just not the case. Go ahead, Dan, if you want to say anything.
Oh, I mean, yeah, again, I think that
God, I love water.
a lot of, well, so there's two main things that people were really mad at me for. One was what you're talking about, which, again, I think I overreacted. I don't know. It was just a mood thing. And like you said, it really wasn't even about that particular thing. But I mean, anybody that frequents our subreddit or goes into the comment section of YouTube knows what you're talking about. And
fuck, man, I need to get on here. I could take all the heat for them. I could say everything that I just said to you guys. I could give all those positions, and they wouldn't have to take the heat from their audience because I would be the one to do it. I could be the fall guy. I don't care. I don't think a lot of people understand how much I care about the left space succeeding broadly. There are so many and H3 is much larger than me, by the way, so it's not as though I'm in a position to like make them. God no. But you know, there are so many content creators, big and small, who I've tried to offer like private help to because I know if I did so publicly, it would be like bad for their career, especially if they're smaller, you know, smaller content creator. Like you know, I do a lot to try to keep things on board. If I have to do that, like behind the scenes or whatever, like that's fine. Okay, this person works for H3. I'll follow them. You think you'll be able to reach them? Well, I'm oomphies with Ethan, so I could just DM him.
You know, it gets exhausting to just feel like you're.
Every week, people are saying you're not good enough.
People are gunning
be better.
For you. Yeah, and so
be better.
Yeah,
it's like I'm trying.
Yeah, and I was trying to stand up for you a little bit. I am glad that you acknowledge, though, that you know. Especially the thing with the call.
Don't say oomphies. I love saying oomphies. Yeah, I'm oomphies with Jordan Peterson too.
And pushing him when he had established a boundary. I didn't like that happened either. And I'm glad that you see that was too far and that you accept that. The other criticism that I have been getting, which is really the reason that I was like, you know what, fuck this whole Twitter thing, is that I, at one point during the show, was mocking the caller's lisp. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
That did not happen.
That did not happen. And if you're saying that happened, you are either dumb or just being disingenuous. I don't know what you're talking about. There was a moment.
People said you were mocking.
Yeah, there was a moment late in the show when we were talking about somebody had left I believe it was after somebody left a super chat telling us that we suck or whatever. And, you know, I think I did a voice that was more so just like a annoying whiner voice.
I don't know
like
this
I was mocking, and somehow people connected that to me mocking the caller's lisp, which the caller happened like 2 hours prior to that. So it's really a leap to think that I was referencing that. And that was really upsetting to me because I would never fucking do that. And
it is worth pointing out, though, if you guys ever wonder how people come up with these like wild premises for cancellation, like with me, you know, this happens all the time. Like you'll see someone on Twitter saying shit about me, and it's like the people saying that I probably embezzled the money that went to Ukraine, even though the donation links went directly to Streamlabs donations, which has a pretty transparent like process, and it never touched my bank account. Everyone used a separate link. And then I publicly donated the last bit of people who had donated to me mistakenly over the stream, you know? And people were saying like, well, he probably embezzled it. The reason you see stuff like that is because there's a particular personality type. These people are basically like bottom feeders. They're scum. But the only way they can derive personal, like, social validation is through demonstrating they're better than other people, you know? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with like being a competitive person, like a person who really builds a lot of self-esteem off being good at a game or being a fast runner. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this case, it's not about performing better. It's about making them lower. It's about constantly, like, wherever your bar is, like, everyone you don't like needs to be pulled below it. And you essentially exist to lessen other people. And then you add on the fact this is a political space. So you're not just tearing apart like a social club. You're tearing apart a political advocacy group. You're actually damaging the ability for you to affect your cause. Like there are people who will just, and they'll come up with the wildest shit, you know. But it's fun for them. Oh yeah, I found my top 7 oomphy list. That somebody put on Reddit. We've got the classics. Russia Today, FaZe Banks, of course, classic Vosh fan. Jordan B. Peterson, one of my top men. Ethan Klein, as I said, oomphy. Dolan Dark, John Cusack, Cusack, yeah, and Meowry. That was the one that surprised me when I saw Meowry, because I wasn't even following Meowry beforehand, and then I checked out Meowry's profile and I was like, oh my goodness. Oh dear.
No, again, that does not feel like people are being genuine. I don't know how you can watch that and make that conclusion. If it came across that way to people and you genuinely thought that's what I was doing, I apologize. That was not my intent by any means.
Well, part of my problem, Dan, is that people are making a lot of bad faith arguments that are just total bullshit.
Right. Yeah. No. So that has the overreacting and telling people to fuck off. You know, I accept that was over the line. The other stuff, I don't even know.
One thing that I didn't appreciate that a lot of people were saying about me is like, the only reason you felt comfortable asking him if he's a top or bottom is because he's gay. That's fucking bullshit.
Like that. Like, yeah. Like, oh, thank you, Gally. Yeah, stuff like this. It's like, you know, I haven't even watched like that much of the podcast. Like, the idea of Ethan Klein like casually asking probing questions like that, that's not surprising to me. Like, regardless of the, yeah.
I ask everybody uncomfortable questions.
God, yeah. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when like people on Twitter will be like, here's a clip of like Vosh angrily interrupting a black woman while they're arguing. You know he only does that because she's a black woman. And it's like, watch my channel. No. It's this very much an impartial, race and gender neutral tendency that I have. Like, people, they'll always do that. Like, even if, it's funny because I even try to be more restrained because I know the fucking optics cycle is always a chugging on Twitter with, you know, minorities, but It's you know, like but even with that,
questions.
And that was
always.
That was the point that I articulated very poorly, I admit, but that this is what you get with Ethan, man. Like he pushes boundaries and he pushes buttons, and it's not targeted.
Yeah, that was one of the top comments on that video too. Ethan is indiscriminate in who he pushes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And you can think that that's rude and over the line, and you might even be right.
But you can't.
But
dude,
don't think that it was targeted.
You cannot draw the conclusion from one thing that like, oh well, I'm just targeting this man because he's gay. That's fucking bullshit. Okay. Anyone who watched this show, as that comment was.
Yeah, I think we get the gist. All right. We're going to make an effort to try to get on the podcast, okay? We're going to make all the woke scolds in his audience so angry at me that they look at Ethan Klein as a bastion of sensitive progressivism. That's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to you know, readjust their standards a little bit.